Okay, something very interesting. But anyway, hopefully he'll call right back. Brother Dick Gregory on the line. And in the meantime, okay, let's see. Brother Dick?
Nah, not at all.
No, okay. I'm waiting for him to call back, brother.
On this number?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool,
okay.
Cool.
Waiting for Dick to call. Let's see if this is Brother Dick. Okay.
God bless, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. For some reason or another, something happened here. But that sounds like a Negro saying, something happened, man.
Yeah.
Well, what you been talking about, brother?
Yeah, please.
He said, wait, man, listen. Did you see Safe House?
Safe House with who?
Denzel.
No, I didn't. No, that's what I got to see today.
Okay, all right. When we talk, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Just want to end this.
Were you the first one that told me to see The Artist?
No, I didn't tell you. That's the black and white film. I think your son, you may have told me that.
No, somebody told me. And if anything hip that happens, and 2 years later it wins everything, I said, Leroy told me that.
Great.
So I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No,
well, let me say this real quick.
Yes, sir.
She's in the room by herself.
Yes.
So nobody had to explain when the guy upstairs, the music executive, a floor over her, said he heard 2 boom booms.
Mm-hmm.
So they explained that was the guard kicking the door open.
Mm-hmm.
Then they found out there was 10 people in the room. There was no need for a door being kicked open. Then we found out she wasn't in the tub. The woman, who called her aunt, picked her up and carried her and brought her on the bed. You see how the story keeps changing and keep changing and keep changing. And so consequently, nobody has figured out what did that music exec hear upstairs. Boom, boom. Now here's how they explained it later. They said, well, what happened was that somebody knocked over 2 trunks. Now, when's the last time somebody traveled with a trunk? that explains the boom boom. So there's a lot that it'll start coming out.
The introduction that I gave, thinking out the box, as I indicated, people may not like you, Dick, and there's a very interesting thing about not liking black men who appear to know a lot of things. Hold on while we pause for station identification.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
This is WHCR 90.3 FM. The program is The Communicators. Once again, your friends outside the listening area can plug in by way of internet, www.whcr.org, and they'll be able to hear WHCR throughout the week. Our guest online is Brother Dick Gregory. We're winding up our interview with him, and we've been talking about the strange similarities of the Michael Jackson will and the Whitney Houston will. And there's a very interesting thing about, in this society that we live in, unless you have certain credentials, you are not liked by your own people if you have a lot of information that you do on your own. I'm talking about the black man in general, do on your own, or is given to you, or that you seek out. And the value of this discussion is thinking out the box, beginning to look at things. And this week, I'm concluding this week, they broke a story about a brothel here in New York. And it said the lady who ran the brothel ran it for something like 10 or 14 years, $10 million for 14 or 15 years. And it said she had ties into the DA, the NYPD, the FBI. It said that she had a clientele of very wealthy businessmen. And then it said business people from Fortune 500. Then it said politicos, and all these things had commas behind it. And then it said royalty. And I'm looking at the headline in the inside the New York Daily News, and I'm saying, wait a minute. NYPD, FBI, DA's office. I said, there's one thing missing, the CIA.
Yeah, I'm thinking what you're saying, and you know why it's missing, and you know what else is missing?
Go ahead.
the clientele from the UN.
Yeah.
You got everybody in the world, political wise, country wise, have ambassadors there, huh? And those are the spy hookup. Those are the prostitutes that the CIA and the FBI and the NYPD put down together, and that's where they get they implement. That's why they left them out, huh? That's why that's left out. That happens all over the world. That's just not us. That's not us. I tell folks when you travel, I tell Lieutenant, when you travel, if you see a woman come up to you that look like it's out of your pay scale and anything good, it's too good to be true, it is. But that's how they do it. And the countries all over the world do the same thing.
Brother Dick, before you leave, I need you to give 30 seconds to something relating to health that folks should be aware of or should implement in their lives.
Well, you always heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
Go ahead.
Okay. The first wine that was ever made, it wasn't made for wine, it was apple. Apples. They go all the way back to those mythical stories in the Bible about the apple.
Yes.
Well, what's in apples will heal the whole body. That's why apple cider vinegar. They got a book out, old book out, called the Vinegar Bible. And anything you want to heal or cure, it's in there, from the eyes, from the outside. If I knew what I'm going to tell you now when I was running track, you can take a piece of gauze, the square pads, right?
Yeah.
And soak it in apple cider vinegar and put it on your wrist and put a wristband over it. And if you can, people cannot catch up with you because it regulates your breathing. All of that, corns, the old folks, man, when they make beans, with the gas.
Yeah.
Do you remember the old folk, man? They put vinegar.
That's right. A little bit of vinegar.
That goes in and knocks all that down. It's just liver cancer, anything. If you hit the internet, someone just gave me this book, and I am just out of my spirit with it, copying it to get it to everybody. So vinegar. Now you don't have to know that much about it. Vinegar's not gonna hurt you. Just take that's all the wine that's made, and where the apple cider it came out of France. And then from that they went into, well, let's see what's in the grape, huh? But no, vinegar for dandruff, vinegar for you can even spray apple cider vinegar on your pillow when you sleep at night.
Go ahead.
And it works on the sinus. But if there could be a cure-all, I never understood what they meant about an apple a day.
Keeps the doctor
That's
away.
where aspirin is a derivative of that. Aspirin, they make aspirin synthetic out of the pectin that comes out of apples, okay?
Well, we're at the end. I want to thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Peace
God bless you and your family.
And thanks to you and your family.
All right.
Thank you, baby.
Peace. Bye-bye. This is W. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving right along, as my good buddy, Brother Sinkay would say, moving right along. We're at the concluding interview, and we have a voice that we haven't had on in quite some time. He is Dr. Donald Hooker. God bless you, my brother.
My pleasure, sir. How are you?
I'm blackcellent today.
Wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Hooker is, we use the term doctor affectionately. He's not a medical doctor. He's not a naturopath. However, his knowledge and skill is used by medical doctors and others in, approaching healing from the outside the box area, and that is with, vegetables, with produce, sometimes fruit, and definitely with the mind. So we want to engage him for a few minutes with those things of your concern, Dr. Hooker, that you have been seeing that the public should be aware of, what you're seeing, how they might approach healing those situations or advising others. So the floor is yours, and thank you for joining us on Harlem Community Radio.
Thank you very much, Brother Leroy. Before I get into a particular sickness that we as a people have more than anybody else, I just want to let you know that I recall Muhammad Ali saying that when you have a group of birds together, and you have blackbirds, you have white birds, you have pigeons, and you have crows and so forth, you always see the colored birds go after the colored birds. That means the blackbirds go after the blackbirds, the whites go after the white birds, and so forth. Now, the same thing should follow in medicine. Quite often, we go to doctors of a different nationality or speak a different way, and we follow them because we believe that they are more intelligent and they know more about this or that than our own people. This is not so. A lot of nationalities dislike us as people because of different reasons, because of what their parents told them or what some other people told them. We should patronize our own people. That's what other people do. And because a lot of these other species of people that do not accept you as being human, they will misdiagnose you and mistreat you in a medical way that will end up hurting you seriously. Now, there's a disease that's called diabetes, and a lot of people keep hearing it and hearing it constantly, and they really don't know what it is. All they know is that people, when they get too much sugar, they have it, and when they don't get enough sugar, they get it. But let me tell you what diabetes is. Diabetes is something that will take your toe, it will take your foot, and then it'll take your leg, and then it'll take your other leg. That means it's cut off, and you're not walking around. Diabetes is something that will cause you, in a certain case, to go blind. It means you can't see anymore. Diabetes is something that will cause your kidneys to go bad, and you will have to go on dialysis. Now, just don't look at one of those things that I have just mentioned, because diabetes follows suit. And the suit is you can lose your toe, then your foot, then your leg, and then your eyesight, and then your kidneys, and so forth, and then your life. So it's something that you got to pay a lot of attention to. Now, a lot of times when you go to a doctor who's not aware, and they check your glucose, that is your sugar content in your body, and it's outrageous, it's very high, and they automatically will not give you the respect of doing further examination. They will automatically recommend either some insulin to bring it down, and whammo, you're on a trip. Now, your body is built in such a way that if you do the work that the body is supposed to do, then your body will stop producing that it's generally supposed to do. Now, you have insulin, and your pancreas produces insulin. If you give your body insulin, and it really doesn't need it, then your pancreas will stop producing the amount of insulin that it generally does. And if that happens, then you go back to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, your pancreas is not producing enough insulin. Then he'll give you some more insulin. And all of a sudden, you will just continue doing that, and then your pancreas will stop producing insulin. This is something that is created by the drugs that they give you. Now, you must protect your pancreas, and you protect it by not overburdening it, you see. The other way was you are cutting down its production. Well, the other way is when you increase its production. That is when you eat an abundance amount of sweets and so forth. Now, sweets or sugar is not just defined as beet sugar or as sugar cane or whatnot. No, sugar is in rice. As they call it starch. Sugar's in potatoes. They call it starch. Sugar is in spaghetti. Sugar is in bread and wheat and certain kinds of cereals. These things have an abundance of sugar. And it doesn't have to be a sweet potato pie or an apple pie. It just has to be one of these items. And generally, you have 2 or 3 doses of different kinds of sugars at each meal. And this is very dangerous, and you have to understand this. Now, I suggest to people to get these little packages that test your sugar to find out how much glucose you have in your bodies. We can go over that at another time. But you should check your sugar at least twice a week yourself. You should not depend on anybody else. You should check it to see if it goes up or if it goes down. If it goes up, then that means that you're eating too much starch or too much sugar. Then you have to stop. And as you stop, you just record it in a notebook. And this will tell you that your glucose content is going down. You must take charge of your own body. You must study what sugar contents is in different kinds of foods.
So here's a diabetic, and the person is a bona fide diabetic. I don't know, 2 or 1, juvenile or etc. What would be your advice to that person on their daily regimen? Their daily regimen, food, exercise, water, juices, whatever.
Well, it depends on the person.
Okay.
Everybody's different.
Let's say they're overweight.
Well, then you break that down. Why are they overweight? You see?
Okay. Give some of the whys real quick.
Well, one why is social. When some people are frustrated or stressed out, they satisfy themselves by eating.
Right.
So they eat constantly because they're stressed out. Number 2 is people that are pre-diabetic, the sugar is not metabolized into their cells. It can't get in. So they eat in order to
Doc, you're going in and out.
Yes. Oh, well, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. What they do is they will eat more sugar in order to force it into their cells.
That's the body calling on that.
That's right, because your body is not taking in sugar into the cells.
Well, in that case, it's not taking in the sugar for energy to burn as fuel.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So when they do that, they overeat and they put on weight. You see. Also, there are medications that people take, you see, which causes the buildup of calories in their bodies. There are many, many reasons, and people have to find out why they're putting on fat. Now, there was a lady that had mentioned to me that she was helping a person lose weight. And I said, okay. I said, how are you doing it? Well, I have a program. I said, fine. I said, this particular person, why are they fat? Well, what do I know? I said, but how can you create a program for a person if you don't know why how they got to where they are? You know, so there are too many programs out there that are taking care of people who they do not need that kind of care. Sometimes it's just a matter of psychological treatment. Just a matter of a loved one saying something, you look good just the way you are. You know, I would like you to be a little smaller, but just the way you are is good enough for me. You know, it's just that tender, loving care. And sometimes that's enough.
To get that person, to get Leroy to begin to exercise or cut back on his whatever. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Do you know how many nice-looking guys end up going with a nice-looking girl and she has a problem, or he has a problem? We'll say she has a problem. Because he's nice-looking, other women will look at him. So she wants to keep him all to herself.
So she feeds him. She feeds him cornbread and pork chops.
And ham hocks.
I'm gonna fatten up this Negro. Ain't nobody gonna want him but me.
Exactly.
Is that what you? That's where you going?
Yes, sir.
Now you gotta. Okay. See, I went where I thought you was going. You got to give an example. You understand? You done open up a door, and when I say give an example, you know, from your treasury of stories, does one come to mind?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, my brother.
You know, you have this baby, and this baby is healthy and whatnot, and these people believe that children or babies should eat. And what they do is they feed this baby, and all of a sudden this baby gets chubby. You see? Oh, look how healthy that baby is. And what they're doing is they're training that baby to metabolize more food than it's supposed to. And all of a sudden, that baby can't metabolize this food, and they keep feeding this baby, and this baby gets bigger and bigger and bigger until the baby is transformed into an eating machine. And this is a very dangerous thing, because fat is a beautiful thing if you have it under control. Fat is a wonderful thing if you want to die younger, if you want to be sick sooner, if you want to be contaminated constantly. You are supposed to have a certain body weight. Now, of course, they say heredity. Well, I don't know what that means, you see, because, well, my mother, she had cancer of the breast. My sister had cancer of the breast. My grandmother, she had cancer of the breast.
Yes.
Why do they have cancer of the breast in the family? Is it jumping from one person to another? No. They eat the same kind of foods.
Dr. Hooker, I had a conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me about all these cancers, some in their family.
Yes.
And outside the family. And I was just taken aback, because I think females would know, females who have cancer. The guys wouldn't necessarily know that. So the females, if you're in an organization or cancer survivor, you would tend to come in contact with other victims of cancer. And I'm just keying in this last minute of this interview that is there a pandemic or an epidemic of cancer based on what you're seeing now versus 10 or 20 years ago?
Of course. Yes.
You're saying of course.
Yes.
And the age range that you're seeing this
getting lower.
I'm getting lower and lower. Even children, well, we see periodically where these children are coming up with cancer.
Yes.
But I interrupted you when you were talking about eating the same diet. I want you to conclude that before we conclude this. But before you do that, give the telephone number of how people can reach you for further calls and consultation after this interview.
Yes, 404-593-3370.
Need you to repeat that slowly. 404.
404-593-3370.
So the grandmother has cancer of the breast, the auntie has it, the cousin has it, the sister has it, they have it, and they have this thing that, well, they just have it. And you say it's not jumping from one to the other, it's the diet.
It's
possibility.
Well, I tell people I know it's the diet.
Well, supposing they're in an area, let's say in South Carolina or North Carolina, and God forbid that they live near one of those industrial hog farms or something like that, and the waste seep down into the water along with chemicals and stuff, and people just don't realize. The people don't realize where the cancer is coming from, but somebody does. So I'm saying it's not diet in that case. It could be they're drinking the same polluted water.
Well, that has happened, and it is happening now. I go in another direction.
Go ahead.
Yes, that is a health problem, and it does happen.
Yes.
But I try to attack it in another way.
Yes, sir.
You constantly talk about pork. You know how eating it will create negative situations
yes,
in your body. Well, that's been going on for thousands of years. There is no animal in the world that produces as much meat as a pig.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that produces as much meat as a pig.
Right.
Now, so that means that people eat pigs more than any other meat in the world.
More than chicken.
Now, certain races of people...
We got 2 minutes.
Certain races of people prevent people from eating meat, and they use a religious philosophy to do that.
Yes.
Because in the old days it was trichinosis, and that worm, if that meat isn't cooked thoroughly,
mm-hmm.
it will enter into your body and kill you.
Right.
Well, pigs are brought up on non-food now, and what they're doing is these non-foods are diseases, and they have diseases of their own. So the pigs have trichinosis plus nosis trigger. And so now you're eating a meat, even if you cook it well and kill the trichinosis worm, you have all these chemicals that you can't cook out of the meat, and that's in there. And when you constantly eat those chemicals, you have to get the after effects, and the after effects in many cases is cancer.
My brother, we're at the black end, and just in 20 seconds, the value of drinking water in the morning with lemon.
Well, it's not just drinking water in the morning with lemon. It's drinking distilled water.
Go ahead.
With lemon.
Go ahead.
It will clean your mouth. It will clean your esophagus. It will clean out your stomach, you see, and prepare you to take in all the garbage all over again.
I love it. My brother.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Donald Hooker, 404
593-3370.
All right, my brother. God bless you. Thank you very much for your contribution today.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to The Communicators. Tomorrow morning on Respect for Life, it's 9 to 10 in the morning, and we have Dr. Sabi's wife tomorrow morning, Sister Ma'a. On Tuesday, this Tuesday evening at 6:30 at Sister's Bookstore, the Lignac movement is involved in a poetry session. So all the poets, the Sisters Bookstore is 156th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. 156th Street and Amsterdam Avenue is free. All of you who are budding poets, young and old, you go up there and you will get some great insight. You can recite your poetry and get feedback from a great audience. The Final Call newspaper, No War with Iran, Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan has given a powerful presentation February 26th, and he also gave one yesterday at Berkeley, California, dealing with black education. But the DVD from February 26th, you want to acquire. Brother Joe on 127th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. Brother Bullwhip, you got to get the DVD from Savior's Day. It is an indictment, and it is one of the best that Minister Farrakhan has done. And I've been involved with Minister Farrakhan since 1966. It's a powerful presentation. The DVD from Savior's Day. Get the Amsterdam News, the Daily Challenge, and the Beacon. And God bless you all with a wonderful and a fantastic day. Stay tuned for the only sports show in New York City with a black woman at the helm.
I love jazz. I love jazz. The whole world knows I love jazz.
Listen up, jazz fans. I want you to get excited about your love for jazz. This is